We know what's going to cause the next major market correction. We've known for a while. In fact, the video's been pinned to my YouTube for over a year. It's no mystery, unlike the mystery of why my backlight suddenly stopped working. But I don't have time to fix that right now. We got a lot to talk about, and I want to get through it really quickly. So I just want to hit the big punchlines because I got a lot more work to do. If you're in the Discord, you know what's going on. We're doing some updates to the website, trying to plan some more webinars, etc. You know, things that you should hopefully find helpful. By the way, if you haven't seen the podcast, make sure you check that out because I'm going to kind of breeze over some topics that were discussed there. Now, last week were talking about a potential pullback. Instead, we got a massive pump. What's going on with that? Well, the Fed basically came out and put the Fed put back in the market. If you remember, this used to be the major narrative in 2020 and 2021. And the driver for that is the concept that if there is a turnover in the economy, if there is a market crash, the Fed will come in and save it. And we heard Powell say just last week, hey, if we see weakness in the job numbers, if we see that the economy is turning over, we're getting signs of a recession, we see growth slowing, GDP starts dropping, we're going to go ahead and pivot. We are not concerned about the sticky inflation or whether inflation might come back some, which keep in mind could cause major issues in 2025. We could see something like stagnation. We could even see hyperinflation. That should be pretty concerning. If you look at some of the energy sector, if you look at oil and stuff, we're seeing some rallies there that indicate that, yeah, inflation looks like it wants to kind of creep back. Will it be persistent? We don't know yet. You can have hypotheses and theories on it, but if we do see a turnover, we actually do see a recession, that should kind of negate some of that. Now, if the Fed pivots and roars the economy back, yeah, then you have a serious conversation there to be had. What we need to focus on, though, is the fact that if the Federal Reserve actually pivots, is that actually bullish? And my thought is no, okay? We've seen time and time again when the Fed actually pivots, it often sends a ripple of fear into the market because they don't know exactly what the Fed sees that made them actually pivot. Okay, you didn't pivot even though we saw some obvious signs of weakness. You didn't pivot even though jobs were weakening. You didn't pivot even though we've seen that wage inflation is coming down. And you're going to pivot even though inflation is coming back? Something must be up. And you might be like, oh, Josh, you're crazy. Just look at the market. Obviously, that's not true. But you have to look at what you're not seeing. And what you're not seeing is hedge funds and other institutional money not having strong allocations in a crazy bull market. This should be somewhat worrisome. We've also seen plenty of headlines of how passive investing has overtaken active investing. This is zombie buying. People just getting into the market. They don't look at anything. They just buy an ETF. That ETF then buys the underlying stocks, and it just slowly trucks forward. And this passive investing, I think, is part of a greater social trend. If you look at all the people who make content like me, the most popular guys preach investing. A lot of them preach passive investing. Most of these guys are the traders back in 2020 that were making tons of money and gonna make you rich overnight and you can't lose, and they end up blowing themselves up and becoming passive investors. I think it's hilarious. But what they don't realize is that markets go through cycles. And if you take into account, okay, we have AI and we have robotics that seem like they're at the breaking point where we're about to go parabolic on this new technology. What does that do to the rest of the market? It's massively deflationary. What does the economy even look like when most things are just AI and robotics? Massive deflation. Passive investing is going to be different. It's not going to give the same results as it did in the past, and people who do not realize this are screwed. And watch, when I make a short form video of what I just said, the passive investors are going to fight me with the same religious convictions that the Bitcoiners had when in 2021 at the top. But I'm telling you, with the same convictions that I had when I called Bitcoin at the top, that this is the top for passive investing. Now, I want you to take all that information and put it at the back of your mind and realize that all of that will happen very slowly. And it will not help us for the trading that we're going to do next week, likely even next month, or maybe even the month after that. So let's actually get into some actual plays in this market right now, what I'm kind of seeing. The first thing we probably need to talk about is the Apple news with the lawsuit. Justice Department clamping down hard on Apple. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if what Apple did to other companies with their app store is what Google could potentially do to Apple if Apple uses their AIs to create their own. But nonetheless, neither here nor there. When I look at Apple stock right now, I'm seeing a lot of slippage. It looked like it would recover. It was starting to recover. Then that news report came out. It got smacked down again. And even though part of me thinks that if you wanted to give it some time or if you wanted to accumulate some shares here, you probably could do okay. Even looking at the daily TTM here, we could see that it is trying to show some signs of recovery. However, on the weekly and monthly, it looks like we could have a period of consolidation for the stock. If you hold shares, you're even better off than just like buying some long calls due to the fact that you're collecting a dividend as well as holding a major company. Okay, even all this bearish stuff is coming out. I don't expect a major collapse out of Apple. Below 170, I'd see if we get another test of this previous low at 167 and maybe get a visit to 164. Maybe. Now, if we do see a collapse of something like 160, I'd be looking all the way down at 148. And it's going to say that this is clearly in a bearish trend. It would be pretty wild to see Apple do that and have the rest of the market be bullish. So it's even weird how we've seen a disconnect between the way that Apple is behaving and the way that SPY is behaving. Now, lots of people want to go mega short with high convictions because of that news report. I would caution against that because this isn't really anything new. And actually, we actually saw another play, Uber, that was similar to this, where we saw a major lawsuit go through from Australia, from the other tax companies towards Uber. But this had been telegraphed for many years. And when you fill unknowns like that, there is some confidence that can come back in the stock. Okay, this is one of the things that can't randomly blindside us anymore because now we got the news. Now we've priced that information in, and now we can continue the rally. So we came in and we bought calls on Uber, and that was great. And I actually think there is room for continuation here if we do want to reclaim highs and push higher. I'd be looking at the fibs here, which put us at about $91. I think that's a really interesting play right now. The other thing that's kind of standing out to me is we recently had Harris come out and say that she thinks that the White House needs to expedite the process of rescheduling marijuana. This is interesting, very interesting in my opinion, because we've already seen Biden talk about it. We've already seen rallies in the weed stocks. And actually, I think I have a lot of them pulled up here. Yeah, we can see that the ETF has been running. CGC is leading the way, as you should see. They are the leader. Tilray made a run. SNDL made a run. I'm sure there's other names. I don't follow all the weed stock names, but this might be a rally that I want to start looking for maybe a minor retracement this week and then also participating in as the excitement is really ramping up in the space. Remember, the big driver here is them being able to get into the banking system and be able to get those loans so that they can start to really drive growth in the business and start to participate in that. Being outside of the banking system has led to some really creative financing from these companies, and those who have survived have definitely learned some neat tricks to stay alive. And so I'm really interested to see what happens, what expansions we can see. However, the actual legalization could be a big sell the news event, and I would definitely dodge that one. I would also maybe even look for tobacco companies to start getting into the space. So someone like MO might be a really good buy right now in anticipation of that. And so I'm running out of time, so we're going to just cover one more name, and that is Tesla. I think Tesla has had a really interesting week of consolidation. I think this makes it really appealing to play to the upside or downside. I'm going to favor the upside. I can see that my RSI is starting to creep its way into some bullishness. The TTM is also improving as well on the larger time frame. We can see that we've had some consolidation at key fib levels as well. I would like to see these major levels that were made during the open hours to get broken. Okay, I know we've broken below these in some of the after hours of the market, but I want to see either the 167 break or the 178 break to the upside to play this stock. It could be a big mover and it could pay really well. I love to trade this stock, so definitely going to have eyes on Tesla this week. And this is usually where I say I'll talk to you in the Discord, but you can't get in right now. We're no longer public. It's no longer free to the public, but that does mean I'm going to be building lots of more educational tools, both on the website. It won't be up by Monday, but it will be on the website. I'll also try to create an educational playlist on YouTube, so expect some more videos like that. When it comes to technicals, when it comes to fundamentals, I want to do a video on how to do research, things like that. So look for those to come in the future. Maybe follow me on X or look us up on Facebook or something so you have a point of contact to get those announcements in the moment so that you can get in there. Or if you're a Discord member, you don't have to worry about any of that. You're going to be updated on everything anyways. If you want to join the Discord, website will be built on Monday and you'll be able to get in. If you missed the sale that we had on lifetime memberships and you're thinking, oh, I'll wait till there's another sale, there will not be another sale ever on the lifetime memberships. That was a one-time thing. I mean it. If you missed it and you're like, maybe he'll be nice and he'll let me snag it because I didn't know I missed it. If you missed it, you missed it, okay? No more sales on that. That was a crazy sale. I will never do that again. Everyone who snagged it, there's your early Christmas present from me. Anyways, I'll see you next week.